Good evening and welcome in to the UkSimracers GR86 Winter Series, sponsored by Results Clothing. Results work hard, dependable, coordinated outwear that provides durability to those who rely heavily on their clothing at work. Work smart, foster workforce unity and sharpen customer confidence by using Work Guard clothing. Work clever, rely on Work Guard garment design and technical fabrics to keep your workforce comfortable throughout their working day. Available in a wide range of sizes and colours, textures and finishes. Work Guard by Result will enhance the image, credibility and price of any professional tradesman from head to toe. Find us at shop.resultsclothing.com. Welcome in everybody. My name's High Staff, Phil across the pond, Craig Jones. We are live from Lime Rock this evening. Well, what can we say about this circuit? It broke ground in 1956, opened in 1957, and current track length is 1.53 miles, 2.462 kilometers, 7 turns, and a track record of 43.112. That was done by PJ Jones in an Eagle Mark III in 1993. Currently holds the IMSA Sports Car Championship here as well. What an amazing night it's going to be of racing. The circuit set outside Connecticut in the United States. Once again, it's myself and Daan Pepels joining in the booth this evening. And what an absolutely incredible night it's going to be. Can we see Craig Jones finish a race without spinning it round at some point? That will be one of the interesting things this evening as well. I know he's going to love me for that as well. He is in chat, so welcome in, Craig. I am only joking. But I think it's time to bring Daan Pepels into the booth. Good evening, Daan. How are you, young sir?
Good evening, James. Good evening, everyone. I'm doing absolutely incredible here this evening. Once again, we're back on a Tuesday evening, and I have to say, one of my favorite evenings, of course, of the week, because we have the UkSimracers on.
And we definitely do. Craig has aptly replied, nope, to what I said, so unfortunately Craig doesn't have confidence in himself. What we can do, guys, as well, is just have a quick look at the standings going on at this moment in time. In the AMS, we have Anthony Jacobson leading the way on 981 points, Dale Benison on 933, Arnold Chagnon on 902, David Ayres on 883, Roger Morton on 832, Andy Littler behind that in 6th, Jason Haddington in 7th, Colin Sansom in 8th, Darrell Wright in 9th, Mick Barry 10th, Craig Deakin in 11th, Michael Seal in 12th, Steve Hansen 13th, Alan Toon 14th with Craig Crawford in the pros. It is Pete Newman leading the way on 1,046 points, Jamie Ayres in 2nd, Miles Owens is actually in 3rd place, Ralph Cullinan in 4th, Charles Kellerman 5th, James Neve in 6th, Pete Van Gool in 7th, Carl Hardy 8th, Craig Jones down there in a lonely 9th place. He lost 1 position last week. Carl Jacklett in 10th, Daniel Hunt in 11th, Elise Main in 12th, Steve Hefford in 13th, Martin Sampson in 14th place, Andy Maxwell 15th, and then we got Ches Rizzo, Darren McLean and Roy Vivek in 16th, 17th and 18th place respectively. In the team standings, we've got Safeguard by Result leading the way on 2,649, Team Momo in 2nd on 2,366, Spyro by Result on 2,353, Results Clothing iRacing Team 2,293, RWC Racing on 1,680. Below that we've got Work Guard by Result, Pure Sims Esports, Optical Green, Platinum Racing Team, JN Racing, Optical Red, Year 1, DOF Reality, SimRacers Studios and Optical Blue. Dan, why don't you tell us the story of last week?
Well, last week, of course, we were at Donington Park for round 4. What went down in qualifying, you might ask? Well, I have it written down here for you. Pete Newman took pole position ahead of Pete Van Gool and Steve Hefford. Got 3rd. Then in race 1, Pete Newman won ahead of Pete Van Gool. And not Steve Hefford in P3, but Daniel Hunt. So the top 2 staying the same. 3rd changes with Daniel Hunt taking 3rd position in race 1. Then we go to race 2. Pete Newman won again ahead of Pete Van Gool. So these two trading positions at the top last week. That was the story, basically. Steve Hefford This time took third position, so he did get his third position. Race 3 though was different with a mixed up grid. James Neef won ahead of Miles Owens. James Neef taking his first victory as a pro driver. Of course, he had a couple earlier on in the season, but that was as an AM driver. Now as a pro, he has a victory as well. Miles Owens coming close to his first pro victory as well, just missing out though in second. Ahead though of Pete Newman in P3. And race 4, more of the same as we had in race 2 and race 1. Pete Van Gool this time coming out on top ahead of Pete Newman. And James Neef once again on the podium in P3. James, I saw Miles Owens in P3 in the championship. That man, as I just said, has never won a race, but he is in P3 very close to the top of the championship. That just tells you that consistency is better in the championship than winning the odd race here or there.
Exactly. I think that's the thing. Mark Heister in chat there, Miles carrying Platinum Racing Team. He definitely is carrying them. The thing is with Miles as well, he goes out every single week and tells us he's going to be slow. He's going to be slow,
yeah.
He's going to be slow, he's going to be slow. And then his consistency, he just goes along and smashes it. So from Miles' point of view, I think he is absolutely doing a stellar job. So I'm pleased for Miles. I think it's going to be absolutely amazing what he's going to be doing this season and showing everybody that he really does belong where he is currently at the moment. You can see the schedule on your screen. We go to Mount Panorama Bathurst on next week, and then on the 24th we head to the Red Bull Ring. On the 8th, on the 31st, before round 8, we go to Snetterton Circuit, then Summit Point Raceway, Suzuka International, Watkins Glen, and then finish off the season at Sebring. We have just entered into quali. That's why they're all rushing out onto track as we speak. And I think, to be fair to us, Dan, quali's going to be interesting with the low times that we've been getting. You know, 55.6s from Pete Newman, 56s, 57s from everybody else. So I think from that point of view, it's going to be great to watch to see how they all get on, because it's going to be a mad rush here this evening to try and get a decent lap in where it's clean here tonight, because that's the thing. Such a short circuit, so many cars, and it's going to be tough.
Well, a short circuit means a lot of laps, but overtaking on this track, not the most easy thing to do. Of course, that run into the last corner, a really tricky one, the run down this hill and then into the last corner. James, that last corner, I don't know if they're taking it flat, but it looks like it's on the edge at least.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's a lift and run. I did the GR86 here in the Production Car Cup, and it was a lift and run, but that was a different configuration. That was with the chicane at the bottom of the optional uphill. So unfortunately this hasn't got the chicane at the base of the hill, and it hasn't got the chicane at the top of the hill either, so up around West Bend. So I think it's going to be interesting what these guys do, because they're pretty much full throttle all the way round to the final turn, and from there, that's where it's going to kick in. We'll be able to have a look here with Craig Jones. He's just about getting there now. He's going to be able to, should just be able to lift the car, get it pointed, onto the gas now. Oh, you're well late there, Mr. Jones. Oh, there's a car. And then he's going to drop down, he's going to lift again. There we go, and then off he goes. So it's not full flat down.
Did he lift?
Yeah, he maintained throttle speed. So basically he doesn't lift, but he doesn't put any more pressure on it. He just maintains the speed he's going. It's like driving in the car and constantly doing 70 miles an hour. Whoa! There was more than him involved in that. Yes, there was. Car number 14 there was involved in that one. That's Charles Kellerman. So unfortunately for them, they come to contact. And I'm wondering if it started here with Charles going off track first. Yeah, he's going to hit Craig Jones, and then unfortunately for Craig, he just goes round. So there we go, poor Craig Jones. We'll have to go back and retry that one again, because it wasn't the greatest starts. But we do have Pete Newman on pole position on 56.661. Now, if this is the track this week for the GR86, I'm there, mate. I am all over that, because I love this circuit and I love this racing. So I think it's from that point of view, James's week will be spent doing the GR86 at Lime Rock. And as
my week.
Oh, it's not actually.
Sorry?
It's Laguna.
Yeah, it is.
Sad times.
Well, my week will be spent repairing my PC.
Or I could do the production car cup. That is at Spa, so the GR86 at Spa should be quite good. But we'll just have to see how it all works out here this evening. Don't forget, guys, as well, you can subscribe to the channel, give the video a big old thumbs up, and don't forget to turn on bells for notifications, because that would be absolutely amazing. So qualifying running still here this evening. Who's going to take it, Dan? Who do you think is going to take pole?
Oh, I have to go with the man already at the top, Pete Newman. If I look, of course, at last week qualifying, Pete Newman took it. If we look at the week before that, round 3, Pete van Gool took pole position. Round 2, it was once again Pete Newman who took it, and Daniel Hunt, the only one out there, took it in week 1. So Pete Newman consistently there in qualifying, I think has always finished in the top 3 in qualifying, actually. So I'm going to have to go with the consistent performer of Pete Newman.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what Carl Hardy can do here. He's flying along nicely, doing a 56.487 as he's coming around the west bend at the top part of the circuit before he's going to go right again. We are on board with the fan cam behind the fence to show you what the fans are looking at currently at this moment in time as Carl Hardy runs down. Now it's going to be interesting to see what Miles Owens is doing as well, because he's currently got 2 greens and a yellow in the middle. Can Miles bounce that car up further than where he is currently at the moment? He's in 6th place. What can Owens do? 56.996. He breaks the 56 barrier and is now sitting in 6th overall, Dan.
Well, it's a good lap from Miles Owens still, though. And I think that's just to say how quick Pete Newman is here. Almost 8/10 off, if not more, than Pete Newman's quickest lap time on a 56.1. And closest to Pete Newman is actually Carl Hardy on 3/10 behind that. So Pete Newman is very quick here this evening. It seems to be, to get into the top 3 for Miles, it is only 3/10 off. So the gaps seem a little bit bigger at the top than they usually are, even though it is quite a small track.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the thing. It's going to be the length of the track that's going to cause the problem. I don't think it's going to be any of the drivers. I think it's going to be the issue with the length, because it's not very long here. We know that already. It's a very short track. You know, anything that's doing 56 seconds, you can guarantee it's going to be short. So I think from that point of view, it's going to be interesting to see how they develop that mentality that's going to involve traffic, is going to involve back markers if anybody goes off. You know, we've got 4 15-minute races, guys, and a reverse grid of top 18. It's the top 18 reverse from race 2, and then it's a random reverse for race 3 and 4. So we have to stay tuned and see how they get on here as well. But the top 18 reverse is going to be very, very interesting. And we've got the return of Elise Mange. Did say she's going to take a couple of weeks out. Well, Elise is back. So let's see what the Lioness can do this week as we go with David Ayres for Spyro by result. He is pushing the last corner, currently sitting in 8th place. 2 greens for David Ayres. Let's see how he gets on and whether or not he's going to improve on his time. He hasn't got much, mind you. Oh, no. He's barely got 100th of a second to find, Dan, over Carl Jacklett in front of him, and he didn't quite get it that time around.
No, and also behind him, if you look at the time, Darrell Wright also less than 100th behind him. So the time between those two is not big as well. Darrell Wright, though, doesn't seem like he's improving. Once again, if he improves in the last sector, he doesn't need much. Is not going to do so. Comes across sort of 57.298. So just a little bit off, but that just tells you how close the margins here are here.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. 1/10, 100th can make a massive difference with these guys. And I'm going to have a look at Carl Jacklett coming round the final bend here. Believe it or not, that bend is actually called diving turn.
Okay. That's an interesting corner name.
Yeah, I think it's because it dives downhill, but I can't necessarily state that that is necessarily the fact, like, but that last bend is diving turn. So, ooh, that's not
wide.
Yeah, Anthony Jacobson and Mick Barry through it into that last corner. You do generally have to take a little bit of curb on the inside to basically get the car to turn how you want it. Now, this is where I say that, and Carl Hardy doesn't do it. No, he doesn't. All right, call me a liar. Let's see if Pete Newman does it. Yeah, there we go. Takes a little bit of curve, flips that front end round, and then pushes on. And that's basically what the guys have got to do this evening there to be able to get that car to turn at a faster pace, because the car is tricky. We know that already from previous weeks. We know it that still some drivers are struggling to get used to the car. As you see, if Pete Newman can spin the car, pretty much anybody can. But Craig Jones is actually going quicker than he's been before in Sector 2 and 3. Let's see what Craig can do as he comes across the line. Is he going to be lifting that car forward of his position in 14th? He goes up 14th. So Ralph Cullen went quicker and then he come back.
Well, that's unfortunate for Craig Jones, but like I said, if he can find 210s, he's up in P9, maybe even P7. So that's how slim the margins are. And well, it's not a lot 210s here. Or on a normal track, 210s is not a lot. On a track that is 56 seconds long, 210s could prove quite difficult to find.
Yeah, of course they can. Of course they can. It's the margin between a braking too early and a throttle too late, or a braking and a throttle, or whatever way round it's going to be. You know, we see Colin Sampson go across the line here in 13th. He stays 13th at the moment, so no improvement there. Nobody's really improving as the session goes on, but that seems to be a continued feature this season, Dan, as they get further and further into qualifying. Nobody improves past the first couple of laps, and then they all just stay as they are and sort of plateau out at the times that they're doing at the moment.
That could be down to the fact that the tires were out, that they don't go into the pits, which I highly doubt. As you can see, people stop on the side of the track to reset to the pit to get another go. Let's look at Miles Owens getting another go into turn 1. That's a bit too much. Can he keep it? Yes, he can. Now he's going to get out of the way. There's a touch between the two. That's the number 57 of, if I'm correct. Yes, indeed. Yeah. But as you said earlier, margin's very slim, and if you improve a 10th, it could well mean that you're 3 or 4 positions up.
Yeah, it could do. It's well
you don't have to improve by a lot.
No.
Yeah.
It's definitely well worth doing from these guys, but you want to do 2 laps and then go in, or do 1 out lap, 1 fast lap, then go in, change your tyres, and go again. Because after lap 1, as we see, that's Craig Jones again, I believe it is. After past what seems to be lap 1 or 2, you don't make any improvements. It's the lay of the land, what seems to be, and Pete Newman's not making an improvement. Neither is Jamie Ayres, neither is Carl Jacklett, neither is James Neve, and maybe the car reacts better on full fuel with brand new tyres on.
Yeah, well, Elise Main is now improving in Sector 1. Of course, she improved last time around in Sector 4. Wasn't enough. Andy Littler also improving in Sector 3. So people are improving their sectors, but to improve for a whole lap is proving difficult for the drivers. Pete Newman getting another go at Elise Main, meanwhile, down in 17th, green in Sector 1 and 2. This could well be a quicker lap for Elise. The question is, though, how far is that going to shoot her up the order?
Well, we will find out very, very shortly. She's going to be looking to come across the line. And Elise Main here. How is she going to get on? 50 goes up into 7th.
Wow.
Ooh, hello.
That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate for Elise. Of course, nothing she could do about that.
No.
I don't know who spun there, but came back on track very unfortunately. And, well, Elise Main collected in that incident. If you look at the gap between P6 and P17, it's about 3 tenths. So 10 positions covered by 3 tenths. That is, well, I think the closest we've seen so far this season.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. You know, Charles Kellerman has got a slight improvement on Sector 2. It's whether or not they're going to be able to improve going round. I think, to be honest, if I was these guys, I would have run about 3 or 4 sets of tyres by now because the lap times aren't very long. You've got that ability to go in and change your tyres and come back out again. And I think some of these, I'm surprised that they haven't, or if they're trying to run on the low tyres under low fuel. I'm not entirely sure what the situation is. So, yeah. We'll have to go from there and see how they get on.
I think from a commentator's point of view, it's always difficult to know that because, well, you can never read or see what is in the car because, of course, iRacing doesn't allow us to see that.
No.
So that's difficult for us to kind of see, but as is the like in real life, you never know what they're running. If we look at Formula 1, the times get quicker from Q1 to Q3 because the fuel gets taken out of the car of the top teams. That could well be the case here as well, but it's just, we don't know. No. By the way, James, do we get 4 tires off the ground there at that uphill?
No, it's close. If you have a look, oh, okay, JB's doing his normal sideways trick. Let's see if he's going to bomb it full power into that corner. I don't think he's going to. It's close, but it's not quite there yet. No, the back wheels are still dragging, and I think it's just the front that come off the ground there.
Oh, the thing is, I've never seen the like anywhere as we come to the end of qualifying and we have the grid ready for race 1. James, that qualifying, short laps. What can we take away from that?
Well, Pete Newman in first place again, Dan. The grid is up. Off you go.
Pete Newman is in P1, like I said, for the 3rd time this season. Carl Hardy in 2nd, ahead of Jamie Ayres. Pete Van Gool P4, James Neef P5, Michael Seal P6, Elise Main 7th, Arno Chanonier in 8th, Miles Owens P9, Carl Jacklett P10, Charles Kellyman in P11, David Ayres P12, P13.
Oh,
4.
Bear with me. Sorry. Sorry. I didn't press the button. It's not moving. There we go.
Darrell Wright, P14 for Colin Sansom. 15th, Anthony Jacobson. Craig Jones in P16. Ralph Cullen in P17. Jason Harrington P18. Andy Littler P19. Del Bettis in P20. And Mick Barry ends off the grid in P21. The drivers are almost ready on the grid. James, I think it's about time for us to take it away for race 1.
Well, here we go. Pete Newman is going to be on the pole position. We're just waiting with Elise Main. Elise Main waiting to get on there. So just see how she goes. Here she goes. Right, Pete Newman is going to lead us off. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights.
Green, green, green.
And it is green here this evening at Lime Rock. And it is currently Pete Newman leading the way down into turn 1. With Carl Hardy in 2nd. Jamie Ayres is pushed up into 3rd. Pete Van Gool in 4th. And then we've got James Neve in 5th place behind him currently at the moment. Michael Seal behind that as well. So we'll see how they get on. But everybody at the moment, Dan, seems to make it through cleanly.
Yeah, well, it's a clean start at least for James Neve. Stayed in the same position as he started in the top 6, all the same, nothing has changed. However, at the front, Pete Van Gool looking to try and overtake Jamie Ayres. Couldn't quite do it. Behind that though, Miles Owens in the fight with Elise Main. Miles Owens already up in position. Elise Main dropped down to, could at the moment even drop position further down because behind that, Carl Jacklett is looking to overtake her as well.
Yeah, Elise Main's bit under the cosh at this moment in time here this evening. Down 2 already, Arnold Chanonier at 1, Miles Owens up 1. Back up front, we've got a long gaggle of cars here behind Pete Newman, Carl Hardy there as well. Pete Van Gool trying to make out the inside of Jamie Ayres, which he does do at the moment. There we go, so that is PVG is through. So let's see how this one materialises, Dan. All good in the hood though, I've got to be honest. We've only had Andy Littler has gotten off track, but he seems to be coming back. But Pete Newman, Carl Hardy is in front of Pete Newman now here this evening. So I think it's going to be interesting to see. Littler is in the pits, mind you, Dan. So from his point of view, it could be game over for Andy Littler.
Yeah, there we go. Pete Van Gool under attack. Oh, in the background, who's that off? That's the number 9. And that is Arnaud Chanonnier, who's off into the wall. And, well, nothing he could do about that. That's very unfortunate.
Yeah, very unfortunate indeed. Just bear with me while the overlay decides to do what it wants to do. Pete Newman is looking at having a go at Carl Hardy down into turn 1. And it is Pete Newman through again here. And then we've got the battle with James Neve trying to chase down Pete Van Gool as well. You see it's Michael Seal, leader of the AMs, Pete Newman, leader of the pros. And then on we go again from there. Newman, Hardy is in this as it is currently at this moment in time. But I think it's going to be an interesting one, Dan, as these guys get more and more into this race. We'll have to see how this one pans out. Charles Kellerman is locked up in a battle with Carl Jacklin. I think that's going to be an interesting one there as well.
Yeah, it will be. And Charles Kellerman with Jacklin, also a battle to look forward to. Of course, the gap ahead of Jacklin is already 1.5 seconds. So Kellerman, if he wants to catch up to the front, has to be quick in the overtake with Jacklin. However, being quick here is difficult because there isn't really a very hard braking zone on this track where you can really dive up the inside or try and go around the outside of someone.
Yeah, it's not really optional, unfortunately, with Ralph Cullinan chasing down Craig Jones. These guys are teammates. So let's see how this one pans out. David Ayres, Craig Jones, Ralph Cullinan, all by the results teams. Spyro, then results, Spyro, and then results. So it's a mixture of the results guys here again this evening doing the business. But Carl Hardy is climbing up the hill. He's got Jamie Ayres right behind him at the moment. Pete Newman's opened up a 1.3 second gap down. So let's see how he gets on here and whether or not he can keep that gap away from Carl Hardy or whether or not Carl Hardy can improve.
Well, Pete Newman doing what he couldn't do last week, or doing what he did last week, excuse me, and that is keep that first position from the qualifying. And, well, you have to say, he's just been consistently there, Pete Newman, in qualifying and in race 1. And you have to say, when it comes to just pure pace, and I think that's the good thing of these reverse grids, Pete Newman is usually there, but in the reverse grids, there does seem to be a little bit of difficulty coming through the field, not only for Pete Newman, but for all the others as well, who were usually at the top at the first race.
Yeah, exactly. And Pete Newman again, 1.7 seconds. Here again with Jamie Ayres in second, Pete Van Gool third, James Neve in fourth. Ralph Cullinan, Craig Jones, nose to tail here as they're pushing up through West Bend, the top part of this circuit before they drop down the hill into diving turn. I do love that. Good old diving turn there. So as they dive down the hill around the last corner, is Ralph Cullinan going to get the run on Craig Jones? Are they going to remember the first rule of racing? Don't take out your teammate. And it's Ralph Cullinan going to be looking at going up the inside of Craig Jones. He has done, and that is Ralph Cullinan through up into 10th place currently at the moment. Carl Hardy, Jamie Ayres, Pete Van Gool are all still mixed up in a battle down. Let's see how these get on as they battle away for second, third and fourth place.
Well, down the no-name straight we go, and Jamie Ayres is still looking to try and overtake Carl Hardy. Pete Van Gool, however, behind that has made a mistake and is off into the barrier on the left-hand side. Neve involved in that as well. And that is a big crash for Pete Van Gool. I would be surprised if he can keep going. Touches the grass on the outside. Has to, try to keep the car going. Neve chooses the inside, which, seems to be the wrong side of the two. And, there's nothing that poor Neve could do there. And he's just been taken with Pete Van Gool. Pete Van Gool also out of control of the car there. But yeah, once again, unfortunate. Pete Van Gool does seem to be able to keep going, but I would be surprised if there's still a lot of speed in that car.
Yeah, Ralph Cullinan looks like he's possibly coming off the last corner here as well. Drops all the way down the order.
Aye.
That looks strange.
Well, he touched the grass on the left-hand side. Yeah, he did. He did.
Just. Unfortunately there for Ralph Cullinan, he is now down all the way down the base of the field. Arnaud Chandonnier and Andy Littler are in the pits as well. And there is a very battered looking Ralph Cullinan's car. Dale Bennison locked in a battle with Elise Main. Let's see how Elise can get on, whether or not she can get past Dale Bennison here. I think that's going to be an interesting one. Dale gets it slightly on the grass as well. I think Ralph Cullinan would have learnt a lesson there, Dan, not to go near that grass, because clearly it doesn't do you any favours.
No, it doesn't. Miles Owens, however, at the front, once again, he said to me that this wasn't his track. He was bragging about the fact that he was his second off in practice, but fifth in the race. Like I said, it's just being consistently there. Even though if you're not the quickest, he's once again there up in the top 5, and the gap to Jamie Ayres coming down now 0.8 of a second. It does seem like P4, maybe P3 is the best he could have gotten, or is the best he can still get. But he also has to watch out behind him, because Carl Jacklin is on a gap of 0.3 of a second, which is not a lot. That could easily be well undone, and he could easily been overtaken into one of the corners.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interested to see. We've got 7 minutes remaining on the clock here. What Miles Owens going to be? Now we know from past seasons that Carl Jacklin is quite a tough racer to go against. So from Miles's point of view, he's only got to give Jacklin an inch, and Jacklin will take it, because he's going to be doing that, and that's sort of the level that Carl Jacklin is at, and his level of if the gap is there, let's say Carl Jacklin will go for it.
Yeah, Carl Jacklin is also not making it easy for Miles Owens to try and chase down Ayres, because as we both know, James, if you are under pressure from behind, you're always a little bit distracted by that car getting bigger and bigger in your rearview mirror, and it takes some of the edge away of your driving, so you are maybe 2, maybe 3 tenths slower a lap. And as we see there, Miles Owens under pressure, you're gonna make mistakes eventually. It's just how big are those mistakes gonna be?
Yeah, I think from their point of view, they want to keep them to the bare minimum, and Miles Owens wants to keep that to a bare minimum, because how close Jacklin is, I think it's going to be interesting. Main is in the pits, and there's a reason for that as well, but it doesn't look like, other than Elise Main entered the pit lane on lap 10, so whether or not that's just a mistake on fuel level, and that's why she's in the pits. Charles Kellerman is in there, but Charles has done this, unfortunately for Kellerman. Ooh, we're a little bit further back than that. Where do I want to? There we go. No. He's done it there. Done it there, did Charles Kellerman on the last corner. Has he hit the grass as well? Yep. Almost
that was lucky as
copy.
well.
Yeah, almost carbon copy of what Ralph Cullinan did there as well. So, you know, they were. It seems a weird one, because you can't really answer. Miles Owens has lost that place to Carl Jacklin. Jacklin went through on Miles Owens. Lionheart Racing, you guys do a really great job with your broadcast. Really nice production value. Thank you very much for that, and it said he's subbed to the channel as well, which is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Lionheart, there. Much appreciated for your kind words. It does mean a lot to us up here in the booth of JBB and myself and Dan Pepels, bringing you the action from the GR86 Winter Series with the UkSimracers, sponsored by Results Clothing. So Miles Owens now is under a cosh from James Neve here, Dan, and he's sliding down the order, unfortunately. Can't really keep the pace of Kellerman. I wonder if Owens has kind of lost his grip in the middle.
Yeah, it seems like now that Carl Jacklin has got past that, well, he can't quite keep up with that pace, and maybe that's got to be the case with Neve as well. He's going to try down the inside of one. It's tricky to run it around the outside there. Miles Owens is going to do it. There's contact between the two, and well, that was the way they were running through there. That was almost inevitable. Miles Owens not giving James Neve a lot of room. Enough racing room, but not a lot of room to work with, and eventually they touch. Look at this, James Neve all over the curb. He couldn't have gone much more to the right, and sadly there was a bit of contact, and that just unsettled James Neve enough to, well, get into a half spin and having to overcorrecting a little bit, going off into the grass on the left-hand side.
But the thing is with that, right, it's so easy to do. I did it in a radical earlier. I was trying out around Rodskogan, and I thought I caught the spin, and then the car completely flipped the other way, and at that point I couldn't get the steering round quick enough. I was done and dusted, and it was game over for me, the radical spinning round quite happily. But you know, it's a tough one when you're going one way and you've caught the car to then going the other way, and you just can't steer that quick enough. We see Pete Van Gaal going down. No, not this time. Thought about it, but didn't do it. And Arnold Chagnon, unfortunately for him, has had an incident, and we will have a look back at that one very, very shortly to see what he has been up to, why Pete Van Gaal battles away. Ooh, I got a funny feeling here, Dan. This was earlier on, and he's come out the pits to see what the car's like, and decided, no, it's not going straight, I'm going back in again. So Chagnon there going back in to the pits. Pete Van Gaal still battling away with James Neve. Mick Barry also battling away with the ever-closing Darrell right in front of him. Back up front, Pete Newman is out in front. Carl Hardy second. Michael Seal leading the AMS, currently sitting in third overall. He's doing a stellar job with him at the moment. Pete Van Gaal, James Neve swapping positions, coming down into turn one. Here we go. Is PVG going to be able to hang on to this position? Oh!
Well, that was the exact opposite of what happened between Owens and I think at the time it was the exact same one.
It was James Neve.
Yes.
So, yeah, I have to
so
see.
he's been shown the inside and the outside there, so next time it'll go well, let's hope.
Yeah. That's the thing. He's two out. You know, he's had two bites at the cherry. The third one's got to come off, right? You would have thought.
Well, I think both of them not really his own fault. He was given the room on the inside by Miles Owens. Not a lot of room. Eventually ran out of room. On the outside, I think Pete Van Gaal just went in too deep for himself and kind of pushed him wide. So both of the times, I don't think that James Neve could have done anything about that other than, vanishing from where he was, which is of course not possible.
Yeah, you know, James Neve can't go anywhere that isn't there, and you know,
exactly.
He's got to kind of do the job. Michael Seal is under pressure from Jamie Ayres currently at the moment. How is Michael going to be able to defend from this? He's got to look at where he's going to position the car. He's trying to send Jamie Ayres to the outside. Ayres has got to run round this long right-hander at one, so he could go a lot more further than he would have liked there, and he just sits in behind Michael Seal again, Dan. So, you know, he's still there, but Michael Seal's got a lot to do.
Yeah, well, only I think we are almost on the last lap. We are indeed on the last lap, because Newman is going to come through this time to take what will probably be a deserved victory. 6.4 seconds is the gap, and that's a big gap on a track like this.
Absolutely. This is going to come across the line now. Pete Newman is going to be your race one winner. There we go. There is Pete Newman. There is Carl Hardy coming across the line. Jamie Ayres is behind Michael Seal. So Michael Seal did manage to hold on.
Get it.
Yeah, he got it. He got it. So Craig Jones tucked up behind David Ayres at the moment, and David Ayres is going to take that position. Darrell Wright coming across the line in 11th place. Dale Benison just hanging on from PVG. I think literally, Pete's giving him a push there. Colin Sansom across the line. James Neve, after being involved in 2 incidents so far. And then Elise Main, who has already finished. Right down, the results are up here tonight. So, off you go.
Here we go. Well, Pete Newman once again from pole position to the victory, and it's not the first time he's done that this season. Consistently there in that first race in qualifying. Carl Hardy in P2 ahead of Michael Seal. The gap though at the front, I have to say, James, is quite big. 6.7 seconds from P1 to P2, and then once again another 5 seconds added to that from P2 to P3. Jamie Ayres in P4, a 10th behind Michael, so quite close there. Of course, Michael, the podium as an AM driver. Also not the first time we've seen that this season. Carl Jacklin in P5, Adam Miles Owens in P6, David Ayres in P7, ahead of Greg Jones, who I believe did not spin this time round, James. So we have seen a race without Craig Jones spinning. Anthony Jacobson in P9, ahead of Mick Barry in P10. Darrell Wright in P11, and Dale Benison in P12. Then just behind that, of course, we saw that Pete Van Gogh giving him a push across the line. And Colin Sansom behind that on 37 seconds behind the leader. James Neave is the last one, finishing in the lead lap in 15th. Jason Haddington and Elise Main 1 lap down in 16 and 17. Charles Kellyman and Ralph Cullinan and Arnold Chanonier, both, or all three, did not finish the race.
No, they didn't this time around, but I think overall it's going to be into race 2. We are going into a bit of a warm-up at this moment in time, guys, so please bear with us, sit comfortably and enjoy the next 10 minutes. Time to get a break, but we have got Carl Jacklin into the booth here this evening. Welcome in, Mr. Jacklin. How are you, sir?
Oh, yeah, I'm much better, thank you.
Yeah, that wasn't that bad, was it?
I've actually got the hang of this car at last. Been playing around with the setup for ages, and I think it's the first race I've actually done without spinning.
Yeah, yours and Craig Jones, believe it or not.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, that's what he's just said in YouTube chat as well. He's happy because he hasn't spun. You know, he done well. Was it about kind of maintaining, you know, the pace and just trying to keep the car on track, Carl? Because we know how difficult this car is in general.
No, I was thrashing it from beginning to end.
Was you actually?
Yeah, the setup I've got, you can push it.
Oh.
It may not be the fastest setup, but it doesn't fall off.
Oh, okay. I'll expect a DM later with the setup then, because, you know, don't mind, I love a good GR86 race at Live Rock, I've got to be honest with you. But Carl, how are you going to get on for this evening? You know, what's the plans for you? You just going out to try and finish all 4 races?
For this evening was just to have fun. I had no expectations at all. I've been quite ill these past few weeks, so, and really struggled with the car, so it's just to have fun. And that was a good fun race. I really enjoyed it. Did a great pass into turn 1 on lap 11, I think it was. I was well chuffed with that.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? As long as you're having fun and enjoying the racing you're doing, you know, you're currently sat in 10th overall in the championship. You're not too far off the guys in front. You know, we know how many points you can score in these races, so one good race and you're going to be there as well. So overall, Carl, I think you could be in for a good evening. Keep it out of trouble, keep it on the black stuff, and, you know, we could see you again.
I'm shocked.
What are you shocked about?
Being so far up in the championship, I haven't looked, I must admit, and I thought I was doing rubbish.
No, you're in 10th, 635 points. Craig Jones is in front of you on 690. But, as we know with Craig Jones, anything can happen. So you should be able to get past him this evening, I would have thought. I'm sure he'll love me for saying that.
Awesome.
All right, mate.
Awesome. Well, let's see what happens the rest of the night.
Yeah, let's see how you get on, Carl. But great to talk to you as always. And we'll see how you do, buddy. And I'll chat to you soon.
Cheers, buddy. Thank
Take
you. Cheers, mate.
Well, that was Carl Jacklin, Daan. He seems in good spirits as for the evening's racing. You know what I mean? We've got 5:20 on the clock for the warm-up. So overall, though, I think Carl did really well, and it looks like he could be really looking forward to a good point score here tonight.
Yeah, well, I think there are a lot of drivers that, well, this evening seem to have found their groove. Craig Jones also one of them who didn't spin last time round. We actually managed to not curse him for once, James. So we did a good job there. But, well, Craig Jones also in a good 8th position. Of course, helped a little bit by the people that, of course, spun. But nothing to take away there from Craig Jones. He did an amazing job. And, well, I think he will be looking to do more of the same in race 2, race 3, and race 4.
Yeah, I don't doubt that he's going to try and go for it. He's got to have a good go, and I think that's the thing there. I think it's tough because obviously, we see them go round and we see them have problems, and I'd just be interested to see who can keep it on track the longest, I think.
It is, being a small track, quite a difficult one for how it looks. It doesn't look as difficult, but let me tell you, of course, this run up the hill, the car gets very light at the top. So if you have any steering input, the car could, if it wants to, just spit you out to either left or right hand side. So it's difficult to well, I would say the best thing to feel that is go and have a try at it yourself. I think Lime Rock is a free track. So is the Toyota, a free car. So go and have a go at it, and you will feel how weird it is going up that hill, because it definitely gets very light, the car on top. Then you have, of course, that last corner, which isn't quite flat, is a little lift. And if you touch the outside grass, we've seen it, I think, twice or 3 times here this evening. You are off into the wall on the left-hand side. So a difficult track, and it definitely doesn't look as if it's that difficult.
Look, I think overall we know how hard the track can be. You can go forward in any car, Dan, to be honest, up that hill, and you will lift the front off the ground anyway. It doesn't matter whether you're sitting in GT3s or whether or not you're sitting in 86s, you know what I mean? You're going to be able to get the front wheels off at some point. So the fact that, we only had a couple really in that last race, going up over the hill, so Pete Van Gool was one of them. Arnold Chagnon was another one who stuck it into the wall. So it's easily done there from these guys. And, if these guys can do it, then pretty much most people can.
Yeah, well, Charles Kellyman was also one that I expected a lot from last race. He was looking good in qualifying, but of course had that incident in race 1, and well, the car wasn't straight after that anymore, so he decided to call it a day. Lee's main once again spinning the car almost round, and we've seen that a couple of times here this evening. Really tricky corners where it's easy to kind of lose the back end of this car.
Yeah, definitely.
More so than I think we've ever seen this season.
All right, the grid is up for the next round. Dan, you're going to have to be speedy because they are getting on freaking fast. Off you go.
Charles Kellyman in P1, Elberty's main in P2, Jason Harrington P3, James Neef P4, Colin Sanson P5, Pete Van Gool P6, Dale Bennison P7, Darrell Wright P8, Mick Barry P9, Anthony Jacobson P10, Greg Jones P11, David Ayres in P12, 13 Miles Owens, 14 Carl Jacklin, 15 Jamie Ayres. And I was not in time.
You're not in time. Charles Kellyman is out in front. Here we go.
Green flag.
Oh, nobody really moved off the start. Then, as always, in this GR86, it doesn't seem to matter how much you put the revs down. You don't seem to go anywhere. And it is Kellerman, Main, Haddington and Neve at the top of the order at the moment. I'm expecting big movements from James Neve here. He does look one of the quickest out of this four, and that's no disrespect to the others. But I think Neve could be a one to watch here, Dan, this early on.
Yeah, well, we're going to see how this race progresses. James Neve, of course, we know he's quick. He's going to try it around the outside or up the inside of Haddington. This uphill corner, not one where you run through side by side. They're going to have to give each other respect. And they do run through there side by side. James Neve now gets out ahead of the two. And well, beautiful drive by James Neve is now going to try and look to chase down the Lee's Main. Let's hope for Lee's Main that she can stay clean this time round in this race, because she's in a good position so far.
Yeah, it definitely is at the moment. There's been more people off track currently at the moment as well. Pete Newman, Andy Littler, Carl Jacklin, David Ayres, Michael Seals been involved in his own little incident here. He is in the middle in the orange and blue.
Oh, that's not good.
Whoa. That's Ayres, that's Littler. That's a lot of people there.
Newman involved in it as well.
Yeah. So that's David Ayres on the left-hand side. Oh, He gets a snap on the wheel at the top of the hill. Oh, poor Michael Seal just had nowhere to go. Cars snapping all over the place. Jacqueline, Seal, Van Gaal, Barry, Bale, Dale Benison, all in the pits. This early on already, Dan, and that is never any good for no one.
No, and especially for Pete Newman, who was involved in that as well. That's a big crash. That's going to be points dropped for him. So he's not going to be happy with that. James Neave, however, is now all over Elise Main. Elise Main herself is all over the back of Charles Kellerman, excuse me. And Charles Kellerman, he could well take his first victory of the season here, because Haddington behind that and P4 is quite a long way back. Pete Van Gaal has also gone into pit lane. This is why into turn 1. What has he done?
Colin Sampson.
Oh, yeah. And that's a big hit into the wall.
Yeah, Colin Sampson there as well. Kind of kicked that off with Mick Barry, I think. So Barry was involved with that. Sampson and PVG all got caught up in that incident there. So unfortunately for them, they are all PVG, Seal, Barry, Benison and Jacqueline all in the pits. And it's James Neave trying to make that move down the inside of Elise Main. Does so. So that's James Neave now up in the second place. Next on his list is Carl Jacqueline, but Craig Jones battling away with Carl Hardy here. This could be exciting.
Well, what can Craig Jones do? Last race he got through in 8th. This race, at the moment, he's still in the position where he started. Carl Hardy, though, ahead of him, up 7 positions. Anand Chalanier and Ralph Cullinan up 11. Those are the biggest gainers. However, Hardy is off the track. And it's now going to drop down the order. That's a spin from Hardy. I'm wondering, was there any help from Craig Jones there, James?
Well done. Let's have a look.
He looked a little bit too far back for there to be any help. It looked like it was on his own. And yeah, the answer is yes, that was the case.
All on his own into the S's, so into practically what is known as turn 2. And for Carl Hardy, he's now dropped all the way down into 12th place. Up front, Kellerman and Neave scrapping side by side. Be going round at the S's now. They've got to go left and then they're going to go right. You've got to get that 86 pointed and just put the throttle down, lift it a little bit to get it lined up, and away you go. And this is exactly what these guys are doing here this evening. Let's have a look on board with James Neave going up over the hill. See whether or not them front wheels do come off. Yes, you can see it there, Dad. It's such a scary turn, you know, for them guys, because it's going up the base of a hill.
Yeah, well, like I said in warm-up, it's a tricky corner. And if you want to experience it yourself, of course, go out there and try it. It's a simulator. It doesn't cost too much if you crash the car. You can just reset to the pit lane. So you can just floor it through there and you can feel how it is. Even in a different car, not even in the GR86, you can take basically every car through there and the front wheels will lift off the ground. That's how tricky that corner is, not only in this car, but in every car. James Neave, however, big crash for Carl Hardy. And that is Carl Hardy into the pit lane. We saw the crash earlier on. And James, I don't think that Carl Hardy is going anywhere in this race anymore. This is where it happened. Carl Hardy probably on his own and then got hit, got T-boned by someone. Yeah, there we go. Oh, Pete Newman getting lucky not to be involved in that again.
Was that Andy Littler?
That's a big one,
wasn't it? Oh, as we go.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Andy Littler. Andy Littler and Carl Hardy. That was massive from them guys, unfortunately. As we can see, the leaders coming past now, Charles Kellerman and James Neave. It's still Kellerman out in front at the moment, with Neave right behind him. I told you Neave's looking strong here tonight, mate. I think this could be James Neave's victory if he can clear back Charles Kellerman.
You're saying that right, if he can clear Charles Kellerman. Charles Kellerman proving difficult for Neave to overtake now. It took Neave a while before he was past Elise Main. That gap now has opened up to 1.3 seconds. Kellerman also picking up the pace here. Is Neave going to once again try it up the inside here? Not quite close enough to do something. Maybe the run down now. I think that was Neave totally with 4 wheels off the ground. At least it looked like it. And and Charles Kellyman, well, Neve is all over Charles Kellyman. The only difficult thing for Neve is there's no real corner to try and outbrake Kellyman.
No, he's only got turn one and he's got to try and send it up the inside. If he doesn't manage to do that, then unfortunately he's going to be there for another lap unless he takes a mad dive somewhere, which is going to cause him problems. But from James Neve's point of view, he goes up into turn one and he has done, takes it on lap 8. That's the only opportunity he had, Dan.
He was so much quicker into that corner than Charles Kellyman that I thought for a moment, well, he's gone in too hot. And James, I think I'm not the only one thinking that, because it looked like he just overshot the corner with how quick he went in there. But it seems like the cornering speed between Charles Kellyman and James Neve is just so much more different from each other that, well, it was quite an easy pass in the end for Neve.
Neve out in front now. Is he going to run away with his 7:28 on the clock? Let's see how he gets on here, James Neve, and see what he can do. But I think it's going to be interesting to see if he can manage to keep going here, because Kellyman does look quick. He's on a 57.54 and they're coming over the there's only 0.03 of a second between them, Dan, so their lap times are kind of relatively the same. So, you know, we'll just have to see how they get on.
Well, 7/10 is the gap now. I have a feeling that Kellyman doesn't have the pace to keep up with Neve, because we've seen that gap grow over the last lap now, and he's only just overtaken him into into turn one, and the gap was already half a second. So the lap time isn't that much different. And if Charles Kellyman can keep it that slipstream, he just has to keep Neve honest, I think, not let Neve get away with it, so he can just take 2 steps or just 2% off and can try and cruise to the victory. He just has to keep him honest, maybe try and force Neve into a mistake. I think that's the only way for Kellyman to try and, well, get something from this.
Yeah, I think so as well. He's got to try and stay with Neve. Let Neve try and pull him along, because the last thing he wants to do is slip back into the hands of Elise Main. Jamie Ayres is closing on Miles Owens here. Miles is currently sitting in 4th place. Another consistent evening as the evenings go on for Miles. You know, he's almost like if you had a penalty shootout, you'd put Miles Owens in, because he has just been consistent as the racing's gone on.
Yeah, well, up 9 as well at the moment. Jamie Ayres behind him, up 10. Up 13 though is Ralph Cullinan, and second biggest gainer behind that is Arnold Chanonnier. So these three, one of the biggest gainers in the field at the moment. A lot of people also out. It's been quite a battleground this race, hasn't it?
Yeah, we've lost quite a few people. We lost Carl Jacklett, Michael Seal, Mick Barry, Dale Benetton, and I feel slightly sorry for Carl Jacklett, because we were just talking about how he wants to try and stay out of trouble and stay on track, and next thing you know, he's in the pits with damage.
Yeah, well, also Pete Van Gool is second time in a row that he is unlucky. Of course, last race he had an incident as well and was further down the back of the order. I think in 13th or 12th he was last race, and once again this time round he was unlucky into turn 1. That is Elise Main off track though, and that is Miles Owens up to P3, Elise Main down into P8, and once again the Lioness not staying clean as Charles Kellyman has also overtaken Neve again.
Yeah, that's turn
it looked
1.
like.
She's coming round turn 2, isn't she? Yeah.
Oh.
Nah. Elise Main. Neve did hang on to from Kellerman there. So Miles Owens, Jamie Ayres are having a battle. They are side by side down into turn 1. How's this going to work out? Oh, Ayres goes round the outside of turn 1, Dan, and gets the job done. That's a brave one from Jamie Ayres.
Yeah, brilliant overtake there from Jamie Ayres on Miles Owens. Showed Miles Owens the outside and ran it round. Miles Owens, though, I think for him, he maybe knows that he doesn't have the pace that Jamie Ayres has. Maybe it's better to let her pause, or to let him pause, than try and stick in that slipstream to try and get away from Cullinan as well, because the race is still 4 minutes long. That's still quite a lot of laps, and P4 here for Miles Owens wouldn't be bad either, with a lot of championship rivals down the order.
Yeah, definitely. It would help massively because Pete Newman's not here either. And Pete Newman is right the way down in 12th at the moment. So from Miles' point of view, it almost makes sense to kind of try and stay where you are and just stay ahead of Ralph Cullinan. This is Channonnier battling away here with Jacobson in front of him in 6th. Channonnier trying to look at putting it out the inside. Not going to do it this time around. 3 minutes left on the clock here. And Channonnier has got to try and get past Jacobson, but I can't see where he can, Dan, going around this twisty part of the circuit.
Well, it's difficult, not only this twisty part, but I've said it a few times now, there's not really a zone where you can outbrake someone. There's not really a hard braking zone. The only real braking zone you have is turn 1, and that's where we've seen moves happening this evening. But he has to be closer for that to happen to Jacobson in order for him to be able to maybe launch it up the inside, because you can't try and brake 50 meters later than someone, because you are eventually going to end up in the wall.
Yeah. And
that's also not going to help.
No. Oh, he's held it though, mind you. He saved it. Unlike a few people this evening who's managed to go round at that point. But Channonnier is definitely pushing Jacobson here, and he's managed to hold on to the back end of him. This is the battle for the AM lead, mind you. Jacobson is currently leading the way in the AMs. Jason Haddington is another man that's having a interesting battle as he's trying to go around the inside tandem spin. Oh, both of them there as well. That's Darrell Wright, Jason Haddington. Both of them doing a similar pirouette going down in through turn 1. And unfortunately for them two, it's now, well, Pete Newman got through. So I think Pete Newman is trying to actually unlap himself here. But again, he's got no bonnet on his car either.
No, that car has been in the wars a couple of times here this race. Of course, we saw that incident in the last corner where I think Littler and Sansom rolled over. Meanwhile, though, Jacobson around the outside of Channonnier has to defend from Channonnier. Can he make it stick this move? Not quite into turn 2. This is the tricky bit. Don't spin here. And he doesn't. Well, Channonnier had a little look up the inside of turn 1 there. James couldn't quite make it stick.
As we're going to be coming around, taking the white flag now with James Neve. He is looking so strong here this evening. So strong. I can't see anybody that's going to get James Neve currently at the moment. 30 seconds remaining on the clock, so we are on the last lap. So we will keep an eye on your leader and Channonnier battling away with Jacobson as these guys are running down now into turn 1. Channonnier sticks his nose out. He lets him know he's still there. Nothing doing at this moment in time, Dan. There's just kind of no hope at the moment where Channonnier's got to try and send it. And the only other place really is going down to the bottom of the hill before he goes right uphill.
Well, that bit is going to come up now as we go down the no-name straight. That's too wide for Channonnier. He's going to hit the wall. And that is even more calamity for Arnold Channonnier, pushing a little bit too hard. Can he get it going before Darrell Wright gets past? I think he can. Darrell Wright quite a far way back. But, oh, that's not what he would have wanted. He tried to push. He had the room to push. But here he is. James Neve taking the victory ahead of Charles Kellyman. But that was just a little bit too much there from Channonnier.
Yeah, Jamie Ayers gets third there as well. Leader of the AMs is Anthony Jacobson. Jacobson there with Channonnier behind him. How is he even driving that car? I have no idea, because it can't be going straight, surely. Oh, it is. Well done, Channonnier. And Darrell Wright behind that one as these guys are going to be coming across the across the finish line very shortly. Well, that was a bit more adventurous, Dan, wasn't it? We saw a lot more things happen there. You know, Pete Newman.
Oh, he's going to put it into the wall. Like, oh, he's not going to finish. That's what he's going to do.
Yeah, he's just kind of torpedoed the wall there, unfortunately. And it does, the wonderful world of iRacing does turn around and say, you're not going anywhere. So we'll have to see what Pete's going to do here, because currently We are waiting for him to finish before we get the results. So, Pete, if you could do something, as we can see that GR86 buried in the wall. Kind of a Jamie Ayres coming over. Roman Grosjean-esque there for Pete Newman. I hope he is okay. Bit of a shock.
Well, even if I see this in sim racing, it always leads me back to that crash. It's, of course, horrific to see, but here we have it. I think the results from the feature race are in. Well, this time I think James is going to do them.
Yeah, so we've got James Neave in first place, Charles Kellerman in second, Jamie Ayres third, Miles Owens fourth, Ralph Cullinan fifth, Anthony Jacobson sixth, Elise Main in seventh, Craig Jones in eighth, Arnold Chagnon ninth, Darrell Wright 10th, Jason Haddington 11th, David Ayres in 12th, Pete Newman the 13th, Carl Hardy 14th, Andy Litt the 15th, Colin Santham down in 16th place, Pete Van Gaal down in 17th, and then we've got Dale Benison, Mick Barry, Dale Benison, Michael Seal, and Carl Jacklett, who did not finish the race. So there we go, Dan. Race 2 done and dusted there as well. It's time for us to take a short break, and we'll be back very, very soon. evening, and we are back for race 3. You have myself, James Parfitt, and Daan Pepels in the booth this evening. Welcome back to the UkSimracers Results Clothing Toyota GR86 Winter Series. Results work are dependable, coordinated outwear that provides durability to those who rely heavily on their clothing at work. Foster workforce unity and sharpen customer confidence by using Work Guard clothing. Work clever, rely on Work Guard garment design, technical fabrics to keep your workforce comfortable throughout their working day. Available in a wide range of sizes and colours, textures and finishes. Work Guard by Result will enhance the image, credibility and price of any professional tradesman from head to toe. Find us at shop.resultclothing.com. Don't forget, guys, as well, you can subscribe to the channel, give the video a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to turn on the bells for notifications, because that will be absolutely amazing. Dan, we are heading in to race 3. 2.5 minutes to go of this brief little warm-up period we have got right about now. If race 3 is as good as race 2, we're in for a treat.
Yeah, we definitely are. And well, Carl Jacqueline is the man we were just looking at. He, of course, had once again an unfortunate second race. He will be looking to have better luck in this third race and maybe try and stay out of the wars this time.
Yeah. It was really quite bizarre, really, because he came in for an interview after race 1, all upbeat and merry, and said, oh yeah, you know, he's looking just to complete the 4 races. And unfortunately, then he goes out in race 2, gets caught up in Michael Seal's spin at the beginning, and then it kind of all goes wrong for him after that. So from Carl Jacquelin's point of view, I think he's got to have a good race 3 to make up for his race 2, I think, and hopefully we will be able to see him stay on track and survive overall, as we can see Elise Main there spinning, and also Craig Jones, who said that he didn't spin in race 2, but he did just spin in the warm-up. So, you know, horses for courses there, Mr. Jones. You did just spin this time around. So, you know, what can you do about that? Not a lot. All right. The practice session has finished. We will have the grid for you very, very shortly. Don't forget a random reverse this time around. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one pans out here tonight. So, Dan, hopefully this one will go quicker. Off you go.
Well, it's Jamie Ayres in P1, David Ayres P2, Dale Bennison P3, Mick Barry P4, Carl Jacqueline P5, Carl Hardy P6, Jason Haddington P7, Ralph Cullen P8, Pete Van Gool P9, Pete Newman P10, Greg Jones P11, P12 for Darrell Wright, Andy Littler P13, James Neave P14, Miles Owes P15, 16, Michael Seal, Elise Main 17, Anthony Jacobson 18, 19, Arnold Sean Lanier, 20, Charles Kellyman, and 21st, Colin Sansom.
There you go. Whew, got it done just in time, as they have all just about got ready, and for some reason we have a wonderful pace car. Wow, this is new.
I have a feeling we're gonna get a rolling start.
I believe we may have a mistake here tonight. So let's see how this one pans out. Yeah. Rolling pace car, rolling start, 15 laps, ready to go. So be prepared. This could bring a different dimension down into turn 1, Dan, I think.
Well, at least that's gonna serve as not any bad starters, I hope. So at least we will have some pace coming off the line.
Yeah, they're going to be flying. I'm wondering if this works, whether or not this is an option, you know, because the GR86 is, as we know, very slow to get off the line. So, in hindsight, this might not be a bad move.
No, not at all. Well, so might the MX-5 be. I don't know. It has something, the standing start in a car like this. Wouldn't be too bad.
It's just very slow.
Yeah.
Right, Darrell Wright leading the way. Craig Jones sitting as close as he is legally allowed to here behind Darrell Wright. He's going to wait for Darrell Wright to bolt. He's got the inside line on Sean Lanier. Darrell Wright hasn't gone anywhere yet. He's got the pack backed right up.
Green flag, green flag.
And we are underway. Darrell Wright leading us away on this rolling start as we all go rushing down into turn one. Craig Jones looking at going up the inside of Chagnon earlier on in lap one with David Ayres right behind him currently at the moment. Elise Main is there in 5th place. Doing quite well. Everybody, I was just about to say everybody, and then Jason Haddington is off track. Andy Littler, Mick Barry is another one there as well. Unfortunately for them guys, they're caught up at the start. But overall, Dan, not too bad, and Darrell Wright has got away at the beginning.
He did. Darrell Wright up to P1, Chagnon P2. For Chagnon, that's not too bad. Of course, these are the leaders of the AM class, so this is for a position in class, but also for the overall lead. Craig Jones in P3 also not doing too bad. Let's hope for Craig Jones that he can stay there. Chagnon with a good exit out of the last corner. He's going to pull alongside of Wright. He's on the inside for turn one. That's the preferred position to be here into turn one.
Yep, Chagnon is going to go through. Darrell Wright's run a little bit wide. Chagnon tucks it up the inside. And he's got the job done down into turn one with Craig Jones being chased down by David Ayres as well. David Ayres is currently sitting in 4th place, Craig Jones in 3rd. This is the battle for the last podium position, but it is Arnaud Chagnon out in front currently as we head up around the optional uphill here this evening. And everybody makes it through there quite happily. Mick Barry did have a terminal crash and is in the pits. James Neve also in the pits as well, but this is why James Neve is in the pits. So poor old James Neve, they're going into the pits. So let's have a look. There he is on the inside of Pete Newman. That's at the top of the hill in West Bend, I believe. Oh, he bounces over the curve, gets a snap. Ouch. Well, there we go for James Neve. That's kind of done and dusted there, isn't it? He's torpedoed the corner and is into the wall. David Ayres cleared Craig Jones down into turn one and is now running in 3rd place. David Ayres has had a good, consistent evening, hasn't he? He's done really well considering, you know, he's an arm, and theoretically, in hindsight, he probably shouldn't be there. But Carl Jacquelin's gone round. Colin Sanson. Oh. Main.
Well.
Jacqueline, Sanson.
That's more than going round, I think.
Yeah, he's torpedoed the barrier. Michael Seals got Jamie Ayres on the inside. And that isn't good. Oh, Seals in the wall. Ouch. What is going on?
A lot of people
this early.
They get off track, yeah. Well, Miles Owens, someone who we usually see as a consistent performer, down 3 positions. As Michael Seal heads straight into the pit lane to get that car fixed.
Yeah, that Sansom incident started about here, I think. Oh, Newman's off in the background. Oh, Sansom's put in the wall. From Newman. Oh, Jacqueline and Main. Gee whiz. And then Seal. That was a big one there from Newman because he kind of kicked it all off at the back, didn't he, really? Newman here with Jamie Ayres. Ayres running up the inside. Newman nowhere to go, onto the grass, comes back round, boom! Into Sanson. And Sanson's over, look at that, poor old Colin Sampson. Now that's got to be vertigo at the best all there, Dan, because that is not a good one this early on.
No, well, Miles Owens also hit in that incident. He's down in 10th. Has lost the position from where he started. And I think he's lucky to continue because that was quite a hard hit from Pete Newman to Miles Owens as well. So I think in some way lucky that he can continue.
Yeah, definitely on that one there from these guys. There's been a lot going on earlier on in this race. Anthony Jacobson got Carl Hardy tucked up right behind him at the moment. Surely this has got to be moved down into turn 1. If it's not from Hardy, it's going to be from Pete Van Gool. Van Gool's got a lot better run than Carl Hardy out the last turn. They are side by side, coming down into turn 1 now. How is this going to work for these guys? Is this going to be working out? Okay, it is. Pete Van Gool through up into 7th, and currently one of the biggest gainers here. Up 12 places is PVG. Now, and onwards and upwards to Anthony Jacobson. So Jacobson got to try and hold on to Ralph Cullen here as these guys are leading off. James has gone off track and is now into the pits as well. A lot of people in the pits, Dan, and we're only on lap 6 of 15. Not ideal, really. I've got to be honest. You know, Colin Sanson's in YouTube. That wasn't nice in VR. I could probably gather that, Colin. Was there a big dose of vertigo going on at that point? Because you must have been spinning all over the place. I wouldn't like it normally, Dan, let alone in VR.
Yeah, well, in VR, I probably would have gotten sick if that was the case. I get, well, seasick very easy, and especially in VR, that is usually what happens. So VR, I can't even do it for 15 minutes, let alone having that happen to me. So luckily I'm not in VR. But yeah, Darrell Wright, P4 here, doing quite a good job. The podium is almost all AM drivers. Craig Jones though holding up very well. Chardonnay though has a little bit of a gap to Ayres, which is, well, for Chardonnay quite comfortable.
Yeah, it is opening up a little bit, but Pete Van Gool and Anthony Jacobson are nose to tail coming round the west bend before they go down into diving turn. PVG's tucked up, well, as close as he physically can get to try and get this run out of a diving turn, the last corner. I'm expecting to see a red Momo pull out at any minute. There he is. He's looking up the inside of Anthony Jacobson. This is going to be another place gained for PVG as well. Jacobson's going to lose 2. He's lost 1 to Carl Hardy, lost 1 to Pete Van Gool, and Jacobson is now down 2 positions. Back up front though, David Ayres is making an inroad onto Chardonnay. Not very quickly, mind you. But at certain parts of the track, David Ayres does seem quicker than Arnold Chardonnay here this evening. Welcome in, Puck. Thank you so much for joining us for this race 3. Craig Jones, David Ayres, and of course, Darrell Wright are your front 4 currently at the moment. The gap is down to 1.3, 1.4, so it's that final sector that Chardonnay pulls out the pace, and the rest of the lap, David Ayres seems to pull him back in again. So Pete Van Gool lost a place to Carl Hardy. Oh, Darrell Wright's in the wall. Darrell Wright is in the wall on lap 9. And poor Darrell Wright there tucked in to the wall. Carl Hardy, PVG. PVG is going to try and make that move down into turn 1. Dan, that looked a big one for Darrell Wright, didn't it, really? He looks like he's caught the grass or the curb on the outside of the last turn, Dan, and then stuck it into the wall.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see, and well, he's not the first one to do that, though. A lot of people already have been into the pits, a lot of people have come out of the pits again, so not as big of a crash as we of course saw last time out when I think we had 6 or 7 people out of the race. It's only this time Mick Bowery who stayed in the pit lane, but well, a lot of crashes here this evening and a lot of things that happen on their own, and I think that's courtesy of how difficult this track actually is, and we're seeing that here this evening. Yeah,
David Ayres closed the gap down to below a second. So they are going to be coming into contact very, very shortly. Pete Newman, Miles Owens on the outside. Is Owens in the red and black of the Platinum Racing Team. Pure Sims Esports on the inside of blue and white of Pete Newman, and it is Newman through this time around. Carl Hardy, Ralph Cullen, Pete Van Gool here as well. PVG out on the grass. Can you get it back on? You can, but he's lost time. But Carl Hardy's gained time up to Ralph Cullen. And this is another one that's going to be coming in. There's little pockets of battles developing down. We've got the front 3, the next 3, and then the 3 after the 2 after that as well, of Charles Kellerman and Anthony Jacobson. I believe in the background there's Kellerman there. That's actually Michael Seal, but I think Seal is currently a lap down. He is. So Kellerman has got a lap on Michael Seal. But up front, Ayres is trying to close the gap with Craig Jones in tow. I think this tow's probably helping Jones here, Dan, because he's just kind of being pulled along by Ayres, who's closing up on Chardonnay.
Yeah, he is. Well, the thing with Chardonnay is he got out early in front and has been losing the last couple of laps. So Craig Jones, if he maybe doesn't pressurize Ayres too much, Ayres can catch up to Chardonnay and Jones can maybe overtake them both. For Jones, I think it wouldn't be bad to finally get a podium and get a win in the Pro class, which he hasn't done so far. He's been struggling so much, and I think to finally get a win in the Pro class, I think is good to make a statement with that.
Yeah, but he's got to push for these last 4 laps. He can't just hang on to David Ayres. He's got to try and clear him and then use that pace to get up to Chardonnay. He's clearly developed pace, Craig Jones. You know, the pace has come from somewhere we do not know. He made this track just may suit Craig Jones in this car. He hasn't had much luck for the first half of the season already from the first 4 rounds, but he seems to be doing all right, and he's quite happily to say that he hasn't spun in race 1, he hasn't spun in race 2, and at the moment it's not looking likely that he's going to spin in 3 either.
No, exactly, and he did that last race as well. I don't know where he finished anymore in race 2, but I think he finished around 8th or 9th, and in race 1 he finished 8th. He has been consistent this evening, and it hasn't been those, well, chaotic evenings for Craig Jones, which he has had a lot of lately. So let's just say that for Craig Jones, this evening has definitely shown a lot of improvement. However, at the front though, Jamie Ayres is caught up to Arnaud Chardonnay. What are these two going to do? Because the battle for P1 is now going to get very close. Craig Jones, Hardy, Ayres and Chardonnay involved in both of them. Ayres goes to the outside of Chardonnay. Can he make it stick? There's contact between the two. Jones goes to the inside. They all settle back down again.
Yeah, there was definitely contact there with Chardonnay and Ayres. Ayres has pulled in roughly around about a 1.5 second gap. But that is also brought into play Carl Hardy on the back of Craig Jones. If Jones isn't careful, he's going to have Hardy coming through, and unfortunately that's going to be a different story altogether, because we know Hardy's quick in this car, and we know he's quick at Line Rock. So from that point of view, Dan, Jones is going to have eyes all over the back of him at the moment. He's got to have eyes everywhere, because otherwise Carl Hardy is going to get him, and at the moment this is Jones with Ayres. The gap has come down. Can Craig Jones do this, do you think, Dan? Can he take this victory here tonight? Because it's on, but he's only got 1 more lap to go.
1 more lap. Well, they're all very close. He has to watch out that he doesn't draw back from the podium and the lead in that Pro class. Maybe it's better for him to just stay behind Ayres and try and defend from Hardy, because he needs those points in that class, and it doesn't matter if he gets 1st or 3rd in class, he will get the same amount of points. Craig Jones, I would say, stick behind Ayres and try and, well, sacrifice that win for that slipstream, because you want to stay in 1st in the Pro class.
Yeah, you definitely do. Carl Hardy's gone around the outside. Craig Jones is tucked up behind it. David Ayres is going to make a move up front here as they're going down now. Pete Van Gool's trying to make a move on the inside of Carl Hardy. This is it, final lap of the race. This could be any one of these 5. It could be their race. Is Chardonnay going to be the only 5th Pro-Am winner overall here tonight? Can Jones get the win? Can Hardy hang on from Pete Van Gool? Van Gool's trying to go around the outside. I would not recommend that in any shape or form, to be honest. They've all made it over the top of West Bend. Is this going to be David Ayres? We'll probably have to go on board with a JBB chopper, because this is going to be close, I think. Chardonnay's out a little bit. Here we go. Oh, is that run? It's going to be Chardonnay. Chardonnay gets it. David Ayres in 2nd. Craig Jones, winner of the Pros. Fair play, Craig Jones. I have given you grief overall. PVG got Hardy on the line. Here we go. Oh, is that run? It's going to be Chardonnay. Chardonnay gets it. David Ayres in 2nd. Craig Jones, winner of the Pros. Fair play, Craig Jones. I have given you grief overall. PVG got Hardy on the line. And then it was Chandelier, your winner overall as well. That is an absolutely stellar job, not only winning the AMs, but he won the overall. David Ayres in second. And then it's all the way back to Anthony Jacobson, who is down in 9th, Dan, to take 3rd place. So fair play to them guys. What an absolute incredible race that was. There was a lot of excitement on that run down to the line. I want to have a look, just pick up on the PVG Carl Hardy, because PVG did it around the outside. How far apart were they? They were side by side. Hardy could have opened up the steering and left them two to run, but it was PVG got the win overall in the end. Ooh, wow. Nice there for them guys as well. So let's bring you up the race results. Dan, off you go.
Well, Arnaud Chalonnier wins overall and wins in the AM class. Behind that, also an AM driver top 2 for the AM class, David Ayres. Greg Jones the winner. Finally, Greg Jones has a result that says that he's getting comfortable with the car. What a drive from Greg Jones to keep out of Pete Van Gool and Carl Hardy in P2 and 3 in the Pro class. P4 and 5 overall, though. Ralph Cullinan in P6 out of Charles Kellyman in P7, Pete Newman in P8, and then Anthony Jacobson in P3 in the AM class, but P9 overall. Miles Owens in P10 ahead of Dale Bennison in P11, Jason Haddington in P12 ahead of Andy Littler in P13, Elise Main in P14 ahead of Darrell Wright in P15, James Neef P16, Michael Seal P17, Jamie Ayres in P18, Colin Sansom in P19, P20 for Carl Jacklin, and Mick Barry in P21.
Yeah, and I think you got to admit, it has been an epic evening of racing, and race 3 did not do any difference. What do you think of that then, James? Well, Craig, as props are due, young man, and I did give you props at the end of that, so fair play to you, mate. I thought you might have been able to get the win. You didn't get it this time around, but fair play, Craig. You've done an absolutely stellar job considering the rough start to the season you've had, so props where props due. Craig Jones, magic. Absolutely magic. Well done, buddy. And I'm proud of you, because it's been rough, and you've had lots of ups and downs in this season, and come away hating the car and loving the car.
Mostly downs.
Mostly downs, and definitely hating the car, don't we think, Dan?
Yeah. Well, I think he said it himself. So I don't think we think that. We know that he hated the car at the beginning. The first race, I still remember that. It's very clear on my memory still. He did the first race, or the first race of round 1, and stopped. He just put it in the garage and called it a day because he hated the car. He got to work with his teammates, and well, look where he is now.
No, you can see he sits there and says, I'm tearing up, but props where credit's due, Craig. You did a stellar job in that one. Right, guys, we are going to be taking another short break, and we will be right back very, very shortly. Okay, guys, we are back for the fourth and final race this evening with myself, James Parfitt, and Dan Pepels here in the booth. And this is it, the last one of the evening, and what an absolute epic one it's going to be, as we have previously known from race 4. Can be somewhat chaotic, can be somewhat amazing, and can be somewhat outstanding. We've seen it all, and this is going to be no difference. Don't forget, guys, if you are here for the first time, you can subscribe to the channel. That would be absolutely incredible. Give the video a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to turn on the bells for notifications. We have just hit 410 subscribers, which is absolutely incredible, and a massive thanks to you all there for smashing that subscribe button and showing JBB some love, which is absolutely incredible. Talking of that, what have we got coming up for you this week? Well, later on at 12:45 in the morning, we got the BSC Daytona race there as well, with NASCAR's racing around Daytona. So get yourself up at 12:45 for that one. On Wednesday, we've got 2 races going off at 1 o'clock in the morning. The Simability race from Bristol Motorsport with the SK Series, Super Series kicking off there as well. Then we've got the LSRL F1 Series Round 1 starting at 1 AM from Monza. On Thursday, we've got the Radical Race Series returning at 9 o'clock from Rodskogen, with the Radical Sim Racing US kicking off at 1:45 also from Rodskogen. On Friday, we've got the Radical Sim Racing Am Pros again from Rodskogen, and then on Friday we've got the SRL Round 5 GT4 from the Hungaro Ring round about 10:15. Then on Saturday we should have 2 races going on for you there as well. We've got the CMS racing on R-Factor, and then we've got the Revival racing going on Assetto Corsa. You should want to come and watch the Revivals. That is going to be absolutely incredible. And then on Sunday, we've got the LSRL GT3 Round 2 kicking off. So it's quite a busy week here on the JBB YouTube channel. But let's once again bring Dan back into the booth. Good evening, Dan. Are you enjoying your night so far?
Yes, I am. Well, what a round we've seen, and well, I think that in race 4 usually it gets quite chaotic, and let's hope that it gets chaotic in a good way this time, because we've seen a lot of crashes already. I don't think we need to see any more.
No, I don't think we do. I think, you know, jobs are good, and that'll do. And the grid is up for the final time this evening. Dan, off you go.
Well, James Neve starts in pole position, had a Dower Wright in P2, Lee's Main P3, Andy Littler P4, Jason Hines in P5, Dale Bennison P6, P7 for Miles Owens, 8, Anthony Jacobson, Pete Newman in P9, Ralph Cullen in P10, P11 for Hardy, P12 for Pete Van Gogh, P13 for Greg Jones, P14, David Ayres, Arnold Challenger P15, Michael Shield P16, Jamie Ayres P17, P18 Colin Sansom, P19 Carl Jacqueline, and P20 for Mick Barry.
And there we go, guys, as well. James Neve is up.
Could he win again?
Could he win again? Here we go. We're going to find out. James Neve gets that car off the line. It takes an absolute barnstorming start early on. Was other people expecting something different? Miles Owen is up into 4th place currently at the moment. Elise Main in front of him. Jason Haddington in front of that as well. Ralph Cullen's gone down 1. Darrell Wright has gone down 8 positions here at the start, and he's dropped down 8 positions, and we weren't even at turn 1 then. Not quite sure if Darrell Wright expected something completely different at the beginning, but James Neve has got an absolute flyer early on, Dan, and is away, well, 1.4 seconds away already.
Well, this is exactly what James Neve wanted, but what a start from Arnold Challenger, Pete Van Gogh, Pete Newman and Miles Owens. What a start from these guys. Miles Owens moves up into P3 ahead of Elise May now. Pete Newman wants to do exactly the same. Elise May here losing momentum. And well, Pete Van Gogh and Miles Owens taking full advantage of that. But what a start from these guys. And well, they were the most active when the lights went out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Andy Littler is doing an absolute stellar job as well. Poor old Elise Main is going down the order faster than Mark McDonald's, I'll tell you that much, because he's just about to lose another position to Andy Littler. Mick Barry's had enough and is in the pits. Elise Main, Anthony Jacobson this time. Pete Van Gaal is going to be looking at going up the inside as well.
Oh, no!
Oh! Ralph Cullinan sitting there nose to tail with Elise Main on lap 2. Such a shame. Oh! Colin Sansom. Hello. Well.
Okay. What else can we say?
I really don't know on that one. Apart from this is kind of where it all kicked off. I'm interested to have a look back at Colin Sansom now. I've got to try and catch him in the cockpit of it because that will be absolutely incredible.
Oh, I think that was Elise Main her own fault, if I'm honest.
Right, here's Mr. Sansom now. He's down the order. He can see, surely he can see what's going on, can he? Oh, Main's moved.
Oh, what side do you choose?
Fair
And the
play.
car just won't move.
Yeah, he didn't have anywhere to go. Which way do you go there? You can't, can you? You just got nowhere to go, and you know.
Well, the brakes, but
yeah, maybe, but I don't know if he was expecting him to go. I don't know what he was expecting, really. Colin Sansom now, I'm not entirely sure, but I do know one thing. He didn't have really a site to pick, did he? You know what I mean? Good evening,
No,
you, how are you, my man? Much love. I hope you're good. Thank you so much for joining us here. Miles Owens currently just making a move into second place over Jason Haddington with Pete Newman. Newman spun the car. He's on the grass. Oh, Pete Newman's going to be under attack from PVG. PVG's got nowhere to go. Trying to make a move past him. He does. And now Newman trying to battle back, but he's already dropped down to 7th place over Pete Van Gaal, who's up 7 places here. Absolutely stellar job from him. But James Neve is gone. He's well away now and completely flying.
5 seconds.
5 seconds, dude. He's done and dusted, isn't he, at the moment? But where is Craig Jones? He's down the order at the moment. I wonder if poor old Craig got caught up in that Elise Main incident. He did, look. Oh no, this is a different one. Down into turn 1, Jamie Ayres. Arnold Chagnon. Oh, Jones and Chagnon on lap 2. Well, I suppose from his perspective, he can't say he spun the car. Technically, he kind of got spun round there, Dan, didn't he?
Difficult to say it that way because I feel it was Craig Jones' own mistake of turning in just a little bit too early and not expecting someone, or maybe not knowing that they were 3 wide. That could also be the case, but well, I think that is his own mistake. They're turning in just a little bit too early. That was Haddington. Well, very close to the outside wall there, onto the grass almost, but managed to get it back on the tarmac in time. Wow, that is something that I've never seen.
Oh, as is off in the background. They're going to be running down into turn 1. This is going to be Pete Newman going up the inside of Andy Littler. And now Pete Newman has got Anthony Jacobson. Jacobson's got Haddington. Newman's got Littler. Littler's got Gaul. Miles Owens is trying to open a gap, but he can't go very far. And then further back, Dale Benison, Carl Jacqueline, Arnaud Chagnon, David Ayres, Darrell Wright, Michael Seal. Oh, Jacqueline's just got nowhere to go. Nowhere to go. He's now going to make the move past Dale Benison. Oh, somebody's up in front. There's PVG. PVG's off. He's behind the trees. You can't see him at the moment. Oh, he's jumped to the pits. Pete Van Gaal's jumped to the pits. But Carl Jacqueline now under attack from Dale Benison, David Ayres and Michael Seal. Here tonight, Dan, is starting to get heated, Dan. It's starting to hot up.
Well, this is this is what we expect from race 4, isn't it here, James? Every time, and Well, Newman is coming back well. Had that little spin. At the moment, he was with Miles Owens. The gap to Miles Owens is about 2.5 seconds for him. And, well, he's getting close. Benison now having to defend. And, well, she couldn't quite get past this time round, this time of asking. But he is close. He's putting Benison under pressure. And I think it's going to be a matter of time before he's going to be passed.
Yeah, Newman's looking to make it his pass move past Jason Haddington. Haddington could lose another position to Anthony Jacobson here if he's not careful. They're dropping down now, down into diving bend. And Haddington has lost another one to Jacobson. Owens is not pulling the gap into Neve, but he is kind of maintaining the gap to Pete Van Gaal, which is always good. And then we've got this gaggle of cars behind him. Sean Yanye, Jacqueline Ayres, Seal, Benison. All there and Darrell Wright. And there's Craig Jones having a battle with the bonnetless Ralph Conlon in the background there. So, Sean Yanye's gone in deep. He's going to cut Jacqueline's nose off. If Jacqueline's not careful, this is not going to end well. Two tough racers. David Ayres caught Jacqueline. Pushed him back again. That was nice of him. Got him back there before Jacqueline went round, Dan.
Well, Carl Jacqueline, that was rather close. Got it rather close. But Benison losing a couple of positions here, losing momentum, and due to that, losing a couple of positions. Benison though down 7 on where he started. Darrell Wright down 12. Of course, he had. Well, he just didn't get off his spot, did he? And
no.
We saw that, and he's down 12, trying to recover just a little bit further back. Meanwhile, though, Littler is side by side with Jamie Ayres. Well, Jamie Ayres gets past. That's Jamie Ayres up into P6. Haddington and Jacobson ahead of him to chase down. And, well, he's rather close to them. And I don't think this is over yet. We're lap 9 of 15. Newman could also overtake Miles Owens still.
We're looking at the engine of that GR86 with Carl Hardy on the back end of Andy Littler. Hardy's looking at making a move on the inside as these guys come rushing down. Littler's gonna, is he? No! Andy Littler into the tyre barrier. Miles Owens now with Pete Newman running side by side at the moment. I think Owens has taken the safe option, maybe down. I think that's probably something I would do, as is Jamie Ayres over Jason Haddington. Another position gain there as well. David Ayres is also going to gain a position over Sean Yanye. So there was 3 changes there. Newman over Owens, Ayres over Haddington, and David Ayres over Sean Yanye. Michael Sill getting out onto the dirt. That's not going to do him any favours, but Ralph Cullinan has got he's got Craig Jones in front of him, Ralph there with the bonnetless GR86 from the Results Clothing. Craig Jones is his teammate, so we'll keep an eye on this one because this could turn into a spicy battle. Sean Yanye sending out the inside of Seal, Daan. Oh dear, they're making moves all over the place.
They are. Well, Miles Owens, he's doing what he did this whole season as of yet, and they're just being consistent. He doesn't have to win. At the end of the day, he's done this a couple of times now. Just being consistent is why he is in 3rd in the championship. And taking another podium here would not be bad for Miles Owens. So, in his view, this is where he wants to be. He wants to be performing consistently. Behind him, though, Jamie Ayres wants to get past Jacobson. If he can do that quick enough, it seems like Ayres is maybe quick enough to catch up to Owens as well. Maybe on the last lap he can try something. But, well, he's got to move quick if he wants to do that.
Yeah, every lap Ayres spends behind Jacobson is every lap Owens can breathe a massive sigh of relief, because he's trying so hard, Miles Owens. And now we've got David Ayres on Sean Yanye, Carl Jacqueline. Sean Yanye's run wide, he's going to come back onto the track. Leave room. I thought Jacqueline was going to stick his nose up then, and that would have been good night Vienna for Carl Jacqueline, because Sean Yanye would have shut the door on him. Overall though, Dan, I think race 4 has delivered, and it's been
as always,
absolutely stellar evening of racing. Jason Haddington, Carl Hardy, Jamie Ayres, Anthony Jacobson. battling away here this evening. This is your battle for 5th, 6th and 7th. See how we get on. At least, mate, I'm so sorry. I am PVG. That was all my fault. You know, yes, to a degree, I think would be the... Oh, there's going to be contact. Jacquelette's off.
Oh, he keeps it, though.
He keeps it, but he goes again on the outside. He's got to come back on. This is two elbow fighters here, Dan, and this is not something that we want on track, Chagnon and Jacquelette together, because they don't give quarter. You know, they're not pirates and they're not yellow parlay to each other. They are literally throwing everything possible, cannonballs, skull and crossbones, and if you watch the Pirates of the Caribbean, knives and forks just for the hell of it.
Well, not quite kitchen sinks yet, but...
Pretty much everything else though, Dan, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's what we love to see, two drivers racing on the edge of what is allowed and what is not, but at the end, I think it was a fair overtake because he didn't get the room that he should have got, but he still made that pass, and I think that is to the better for Hardy, I think, and well, in the end, he got past, and that's what all counts. Oh, Chagnon into the wall.
Oh, what has he got over that car now? He may have tagged that rear end. It doesn't. Well, it's going straight. Maybe Chagnon is just pushing the limit of that car beyond the ability. It's going straight, but boy, oh boy, how did he hang on to that one? Because that could have been all over with. Carl Jacquelette, Michael Seal, Jason Hannington. If Carl Hardy got any closer, right, we would literally be in his lap. Because I think that is Jason Hannington in front of us. Will jump on the nose with Hardy. He's going to be literally pushing Hannington along here. Hannington from RWC Racing, Hardy from Safeguard by Result. This is a battle. Hardy's got a lot better run. He's got nowhere to go. No, no, no. You're going to end up on the outside. Don't do that. Oh, last lap of the race. Already, mind you, that is absolutely flown by. And we will keep an eye on the leader who goes around turn one. So, well, that was quite interesting.
Put his car on the outside, did Hardy, and well, not the place to go there. Let's be honest, James. If you do that, you're going to end up on the outside wall on the grass, and that's not something where you want to be. I think Hardy would rather have that P5 in Pro Class and P7 overall than end up in the pit lane. So, well, chose the right option to, well, slot in behind Addington again, and, well, at the end of the day, that was the right option.
Yeah, I think James Neve is going to come round and take this victory. Newman in second, Owens in third. And I'll tell you what, if there was a driver of the evening at this moment in time, I'd be tough to choose between Miles Owens and Craig Jones. I've got to be honest, they would be my two. Jason Hannington there with Anthony Jacobson. Anthony Jacobson takes the win in the AM class. Jason Hannington in second. Carl Hardy behind that in seventh. David Ayres third in the AMs. Carl Jacquelette is cutting grass. Carl Jacquelette in the background there, cutting the grass. Craig Jones got through. I wonder what happened to Carl Jacquelette. Oh, Michael Seal. Gonna be in it. Yep. Oh, Jacquelette runs wide, to be fair, all on his own. Was there room, Dan? Could he have been given more?
Well, at the end of the day, he got room to work with, and you don't... If you look at the racing rulebook, usually it says, give the driver at least a car width of room, and there was a car width of room there. So, yeah, it in the end was just a little bit too tight for him to work with, and I think that's more than normal in that corner, but technically there wasn't more room that he should have gotten.
Yeah, exactly. Here are the results for the final time this evening. James Neve in first, Pete Newman second, Miles Owens in third, Jamie Ayres fourth, Anthony Jacobson fifth, Jason Haddington in sixth, Carl Hardy seventh, David Ayres eighth, Michael Seal in ninth, Arnold Chagnon, as Colin Wynn said, on the limits or what he was for the third quarter of that race. Darrell Wright in 11th, Craig Jones in 12th, Dale Benison 13th, Ralph Cullen 14th, Carl Jacklett 15th, Andy Littler 16th, Pete Van Gool down in 17th place. Beyond that, Elise Main, Colin Sansom and Mick Barry were caught up there as well. I want to have a look, before I pull in an interview with Craig Jones, I want to have a look at poor Darrell Wright. It didn't look like he went anywhere off that. He didn't. Literally did not go anywhere. And there he goes, just down the order. Bizarre one down there, bizarre one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I thought for a moment that he might have thought that it was a safety car start again, but it wasn't the case. He first of all, he reacted a little bit late, and then second of all, well, he
just couldn't get in on the line.
He got nowhere.
Look,
yeah.
He just couldn't get in. He's got Chagnon. Now would be the time to cut his nose off and say thank you very much. But he just kind of, I don't know, weird from Darrell Wright, that one. I've got to be honest. It was just like he just didn't go anywhere off the line. But I think we're gonna have to, as I say this in a very apprehensive way, bring in Mr. Craig Jones here tonight for a chat. So, good evening, Mr. Jones. How are you, sir?
Hello, James. I'm very well. How about you?
Yeah, all right. Listen, right. So you can hear it yourself. Well done. Right. You had 4 races tonight. You didn't spin on your own in any of them. You know, you were put round in race 4. So, you know, fair play to you, mate. Great evening. Well-deserved podium. Well done.
I mean, did you ever believe you were going to say those words? Podium in Craig Jones in a GR86. He'd afford it, eh?
Yeah, they weren't on. They taste like vinegar, mate, because they certainly weren't in my vocabulary before we started this evening.
You see, it's you giving me stick last week. That's what's done it. It's motivated me. So
yeah. Yeah. All right. Tell me then. We've got a tough race coming up next week. You know what I mean? And we're off to Bathurst, mate.
So my honest answer, I think normal service will be resumed next week.
Why is that, mate?
I'll try to make sure that doesn't happen, but you know, I don't know. I don't know if there was an update. I don't know if they've done an update on this car. I didn't look at the release notes, but it definitely felt a little bit more alive tonight, and I like a car that feels alive.
Yeah.
I don't like driving a car that I feel like I should be driving on a PlayStation controller, but it definitely feels a little bit more simulator-like tonight. But that's made a difference, so we shall see. But yeah, I think I've got the hang of the braking a little bit better, because that's what the issue was at Donington. I just kept over braking and spinning the car around. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to get too excited just yet. But yeah, I did enjoy tonight. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I think you, to be honest with you, Craig, you've had a stellar night. You know, the problem was obviously you were going 3 wide down into turn 1, and it was just, it really kind of wasn't going to work. None of you really wanted to back out. We are literally just watching it now. You turned in. I've got to be honest. You turned in. I don't know if you didn't know Chagnon was there or what, but.
Oh, I don't. What? No.
Do you catch it on the broadcast about now, mate? Because I think from your side of it, yeah, I don't. not giving you grief because you've had a stellar evening, but I think that one might have been on you, buddy.
It's race 4. That's what happens in race 4.
Yeah, it definitely.
No one even bothers looking at the protests. It's because there is no protest in this one, but things happen in race 4. They stay in race 4, and we never speak about them again. That's how it works.
Awesome stuff, mate. Well, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before I bring in Mr. Ralph Cullen into the booth? Before you leave me this evening?
Ralphie's back this week, so maybe that made a difference. Maybe he's my lucky charm. So yeah, big shout out to him. Big shout out to my teammates and everyone in the league. We had everyone in the room with us tonight, which was good. So big shout out to them, and as always, a big thank you to you guys.
Thank you very much, mate. Well, let's have a chat with Ralph Cullen and Craig. Take care, and no doubt I will speak to you soon.
Bye.
All right, let's bring in Ralph Cullen into the booth. Good evening, Ralph. How are you, buddy?
Very good, James. Big fun tonight. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. You know me. I'm always good. I love it when things happen, and things definitely happened to you in race 1, spinning off the final corner. A little bit rough there overall for an evening, as evenings go. And then, of course, final race of the evening, you, Elise Main, and a flying Colin Sansom in the end, in turn 2 in the final race there, bud. So, I don't know how to sum your evening up, Ralph, really. How would you sum it up?
A mixed bag, James. A mixed bag, James. That's the way I'd like to sum it up. And I'm sure Craig would probably say the same terminology, use the same terminology as me, definitely a mixed bag. Lots of spin, lots of a bit of bad luck, a bit of just, stupidness. And as long as I didn't affect too many other people in too much, that's all that matters. As long as your mistakes are your own, but sometimes that can happen. But I just got caught up in a lot of stuff and a couple of spins again.
It was.
So
Tough one, mate, wasn't it? Tough one. But onwards and upwards. Now we're going up to Bathurst. Down in Australia. I'm going to jump on my private jet. Dan's paying. I haven't told him yet, but he's going to cop the bill for me to fly down there. That's going to be an interesting thing altogether. What do you think your chances are in Bathurst? Because that corkscrew and through that mountain is going to kill people.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of death, I'm assuming. And they have great facilities there, which is good,
Yep.
For things like that. But look, Bathurst is always a draft fest, if you make it through the mountain. Can be great fun. And then, a little jump at the end sometimes, Well, but no, that long straight at the back there is where it all happens. As long as you make it through the twisties and you get a good exit. Look, we just, we see what happens. I've got to get a bit more practice though, because it's no good jumping on, the night you're racing. I should have done a lot more. No. So practice makes perfect, and hopefully it'll stop the spins, Yeah,
well, hopefully, I won't have to play Kyler Minogue spinning around for Ralph Cullen. So I'm looking forward to this one, Ralph. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before you leave the booth this evening?
Yeah. Some of the guys, I know there was great results tonight for the guys in the team, David, P2, and Carl, and also Anthony with his 4 top 10s and incident-free races, which is amazing. So team had a good night. Well, mixed bag, I suppose, but some great results overall. And thanks to everyone who turned up, and to you guys as usual for a super stream.
Thank you, Ralph, and I look forward to having you chat with you maybe in Bathurst. But for now, you take care.
Good night.
Night. All right, let's bring in Miles Owens into the booth. Miles has had a consistent evening overall, and he's been Mr. Consistent so far throughout the season. Hence, he was sitting in 3rd. I'm expecting that position to change when the results when the points gets updated. But Miles Owens, welcome in, buddy.
Hi, everyone. All right.
I'm not bad, mate. How are you?
I'm gravy after that. I wasn't as fast as the top guys, but I had that consistency of just below him, and he got me through, didn't it?
Yeah. I'm not going to doubt that, mate. It was literally whoever could keep it on track this evening was going to be there or thereabouts, because a lot of people went off. You know, I've got 3 A4 pages filled of notes of people going off here. You know, at the end of the day, you've got to get points, you've got to finish. To finish, you've got to stay out of trouble, and you seem to be doing a stellar job of that this season.
Well, I had what race was it? I think it was the second one, where second lap I dodged about 4 cars coming for the first corner,
Mm-hmm.
and then on the third race, I believe Pete spun off and hit me, and I got damaged, but I still managed to bring it home in 9th. So, besides that, clean race.
Yeah. Mate, there's really not a lot I can say about your evening, Miles, to be honest. You have been the consistent person of the season, and you've done an absolute stellar job, mate. That goes without saying. I think the fact that you've come in new to the season and you've settled in really well, and you're really stamping your point on it, and you got promoted the other week, which I think is fully deserved, because I think, you know, you are absolutely flying along. And I mean, I'm going to be excited to see where you come out after these results, but I'm going to be even more excited to see where you are at the end of the season, because I think keep up this consistency, mate. Even Pete Newman got involved in some trouble tonight. You could be well up there coming into that final race, I'll tell you that much.
I hope so. Oh, well, now I've been promoted, I'll try and fight everyone now. So
Well,
it's not letting people past and following now, is it? It's going for it.
yeah, you got to. And to be fair, you're only 18 points back from Pete Newman.
Yeah, I mean that guy, he's so quick. I
Mm.
just can't keep up with him.
Yeah, but he does on the reverse grids manage to get tangled up in things which aren't necessarily his fault. I'm not saying he's fully responsible for that, but unfortunately it's like anything. You know, everybody gets tangled up in a reverse grid. But Miles, look, absolutely stellar evening of racing there, buddy. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before you leave the booth this evening? And I've had The Batch UK in YouTube chat says, fire in the booth. I mean, Miles. So there you go.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Hi, Batch. Well, I'd like to thank my team, sponsors, and obviously you guys putting on a great show. And now I've been here for a couple of weeks, I'm starting to get used to the community, and yeah, it's a great bunch of lads, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Miles, take care, buddy. Have a great week, and I'll look forward to speaking to you maybe next week in the sunny heights of Australia at Bathurst.
Wonderful. All right, cheers.
Take care,
Thank
mate.
you. Bye.
Well, Dan, everybody seemed upbeat there, to be fair. No real downers. Even Craig Jones was happy about his evening of racing. You know, I think, as we said, if he's going to be consistent, he's going to be consistent. And I think Craig Jones did a stellar job there tonight as well. Sum it up for us, Dan, in one sentence.
A difficult and chaotic one this time round.
Okay. Well done. You've actually got it in one sentence. I'm proud of you. I really am this week. You've done well.
Thank you.
That's okay.
Thank
no
you.
worries. But there you go, guys.
I'm worried now that I didn't do all the other times.
No, don't be silly. You do well every week, Dan. Absolutely stellar job. Don't forget, guys, what we got coming up for you on the JBB YouTube channel. And what a busy night it's going to be here. We've just had the UkSimracers, and then in a couple of hours' time at 1 a.m. we have got the BSC Racing League from Daytona International Speedway, 60 laps in a NASCAR around that Daytona iconic circuit as well, so get yourselves involved with that. And then on Wednesday we've got the Simability race from Bristol Motorsport, and that's in the SK Super Series as well as the LSRA F1 Season 2 Round 1 live from Monza. Then on Thursday and Friday we've got Radical Race Series from Rodskogan, Radical Sim Racing from Rodskogan as well, and then we've got the SRL Round 5 GC4 from the Hungaro Ring. And then on Saturday we've got CMSR Factor, then the Revival AC League kicking in as well, their Round 1 starting off, and then we've got the LSRL GT3 Round 2 that will be kicking off as well next week on Sunday. What a busy evening of racing we have coming up for you. Absolutely wonderful evening. People people there in the booth. Batch, thanks so much for joining us. Brame out there as well. Colin Wynn, Elise Main, welcome into the booth. Prefer to see you on track, my love. I've got to be honest. Craig Jones as well, who's had a stellar evening. Colin Sanson, who went up in the air a good few times. It probably would have made me seasick then. Phil, as always, across the pond. Thank you so very much. Monica Heister, Lionheart Racing Series as well. Again, much love to you all for joining myself and Dan Peoples. But I think that is the evening coming to a close. So from myself and Dan, take care. Have a great week. And you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.